Every single human being who walks this earth has a core wound. And that core wound ends up being what runs the show. It's all unconscious. And there's a huge relationship between what this core wound is and why you still struggle with food, body, and weight. My core wound growing up was that something was wrong with me, that somehow I was fundamentally flawed. And if I didn't work really hard to be perfect and continue to strive and do better and make sure I didn't make any mistakes, that felt like the end for me. That was my biggest trigger. And that was the reason why dieting was so attractive to me. So with 95% of my clients, their core wound actually does come from their mother. And definitely mine came from my mother as well. So my mom was and is loving and also has and had, she's always great, but a critical side. And so growing up, I learned to have a bit of a hypervigilance of trying to study myself and understand myself, which there's the blessing of that because we wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for that. And I wouldn't know what I know if it wasn't for that. And that's the thing is these core wounds provide a double-edged sword. It's also what makes you great and unique and have an awesome life. And on the flip side, especially when it comes to relationships, when it comes to your relationship with food, body, and weight, it can really be the thing that could really get in the way. So yeah, that's confusing for a little developing mind to know like I'm loved, but simultaneously, if I make a mistake, I'm rejected. And so you can see that the perfectionistic trap could really get solidified there. And yeah, if I wasn't perfect with food, with my body and my life, I wouldn't be loved. I wouldn't be safe. I wouldn't be in control or silence. I wouldn't be, just nothing. Just I wouldn't have anything. And then the shame spiral would happen again. And this cycle, is something that I see in my clients all the time. It's also why I became a nurse, because in nursing, again, there's two sides. I love helping people, you know, I come from medical, but also the mindset of trying to fix. So problem diagnosis, that's how the medical world works. And if you are trying to fix yourself all the time, take a look to see, do I have a part of me that believes that I am fundamentally flawed? That there actually must be something wrong with me. And it's not that you're always thinking that, like you might be having a good day today and your self-esteem feels higher. And so it's not computing in this moment, but think back to the last time that you made a mistake or you gained weight or you fell off track with your diet. What do you say to yourself when you make a mistake? I remember for myself, it was a lot of you effed it up again, like a lot of self-hatred for any mistakes made, especially around my eating habits and behaviors. And in my masterclass this past week, that's what we really were out to transform. So excited to bring this podcast episode to you today, just continuing to help you gain clarity and understand why you're still stuck in the dieting loop and be present to what actually sets you free. And I'll tell you right off the bat that there is nothing that you can do, no diet, no nothing, pill or potion or solution, nothing external is going to help you with an internal problem. and what I'm talking about on the core wound and my fundamental flaw of, believing that I have a fundamental flaw, my core wound. Another client on the masterclass, hers was nobody cares about me. So why bother? So that leads to just feeling a lack of self-worth. And if you think about how you think, if you come from that position and the actions that you take when you are at your lowest point, not great. And that's often when we eat. So I'm excited to keep, helping you, helping my clients to heal these unconscious wounds. So welcome to the episode today. So I wanted to share a couple of the things from the masterclass from last week that was so helpful. I had asked the attendees, how many times have you lost weight only to gain it back? And I heard 22 pounds, 70 pounds. I've done this hundreds of times. I still need to lose 50. It gets harder every year. I feel ashamed, but I also look forward to the treat. So we did an exercise where we had you imagine, you can do it right now. Like imagine it's one of your most stressful days, or imagine that, for some reason you're stressed, you had a bad day, you had a hard conversation with your husband, you got triggered somehow. And we can feel that. Maybe you're in it right now. Notice how it feels. And I want you to imagine that you make the decision to eat something, bad, to eat something off your plan, to eat something you know you shouldn't. So you make the decision to eat something. What's the initial feeling that you feel? So I had an awesome woman in the masterclass this past week who she said, like, initially I feel happy, but then almost immediately I feel guilt. I feel ashamed. I simultaneously look forward to the treat. And then also just, so there's that relief. And then I also had you, and you can do it right now, close your eyes and imagine that you've just missed, or no, like that you actually stayed on track, that you said no at the party, you said no to the treat, and you get that, like, how does that feel in your body? Usually it's, yay, good for me. And then how long does that good feeling last? For myself, I know that I would do that, and then eventually, maybe on the way home, I might stop at a grocery store and get a bunch of food, or a rest stop and get a bunch of food, and eat way more than what I would have if I just said yes to the thing I actually wanted at the party. Stopping the madness here. I get it. I've been there, and I want to remind you, if you're new or if you haven't heard in a while, like, I spent 3 years keeping 45 pounds off my body. 3 years. I really thought I found it. I really, really thought that I finally had an answer. And then within 6 months, I gained 45 pounds. Oh no, I gained more than that. Anyway, I went from 108 to 170 pounds rapidly. It was the most I had ever weighed in my life. I'm 5'2", so yeah. And I always liked healthy foods. Even as a kid, I remember my dad being so surprised. My grandfather, actually, the fact that I ate salads. Like, I love salads. Like, I've always been a good eater, a healthy eater. And a lot of my clients, they like healthy foods. And again, the perfectionistic trap, it was like really upsetting anytime that I ate something that was not healthy. And that was part of the dieting trap. So maybe you're a healthy eater as well. The woman from the masterclass was saying, like, I have a beautiful life. I have a beautiful family. I should be happy. And I hear that a lot. And she also was honest enough to say, and I scold myself every night for being overweight. And I remember at night for myself, like, just writing just self-loathing messages. I hate you. Why can't you stay consistent? What's wrong with you? It's like really painful. She was saying how exhausting it is. So why does this happen? Why, despite knowing everything, does this keep happening over and over again? And I really need you to hear me. I want you to hear me that it's not about the food. It's not about willpower. It's not about you. It's not about metabolism. It's not about menopause. It's not about age, even though, yes, there's science to that. But if you beat yourself up, if you're struggling so much, like, and that's not an unfamiliar pattern for you, like, I know how good it feels when I just stay on track. Like, I really get it. But this is really a wiring thing. This is it's a pattern. You're running a pattern in your mind. And it's so innocent. It's unconscious though. And again, you cannot fix an external problem with with an yeah, you cannot fix your problem that is an internal problem with an external solution. You need to do the inner work. We've been trained like Pavlov's dog. Yeah, ring the bell, salivate, go to the food, to reach for the food or dieting, and it's a reaction to emotional discomfort. You can even ask yourself, like, how were emotions handled in your family of origin? I know for us, it was like, go to your room, stop it. It was just, they had absolutely no idea how to handle emotions. And yeah, so then how could we expect ourselves to know how to handle emotions? And food does create comfort. But you can't know what you don't know. So sometimes the trigger is stress, sometimes the trigger is success. It could also be like, oh, it's summer, it's a happy time. Oh, my friend's in town, we're going to have so much fun. Sometimes it's just being seen, like being vulnerable. But underneath the trigger is always something deeper. Yeah. So here's what I've come to find after working with hundreds of women. So behind every struggle is a wound. And 95% of the time with my clients, that wound does trace back to mom. She was either overly emotional, she was either emotionally absent. Um, Maybe she always made you clean your plate, or your parents did. Maybe she said things like, no one's going to love you at that size. You better watch yourself. Like some of that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, I hear that stuff. If you didn't have that, you're like, oh gosh, right? It's terrible. But I hear that. It's definitely cultural as well. Italian families. Um, yeah, I've worked with people from all over the world, all different cultural backgrounds. So I do know how many, many, many cultures look at weight, look at image, depending on what kind of career you're in. If you're in real estate or marketing or advertising, most likely you're in there because image matters. And so it feels like even more of a trap if you're gaining weight, and it can make your wound go off even more because you have your self-worth tied up in your image. There's so much that goes with this. So yeah, and then we, especially as women, because emotions weren't handled, you grow up learning to take up less space. So we're not going to speak out of line. We're not going to be confrontational. We're not going to want to ruffle any feathers. But that makes it worse. That makes it feel, because then you internalize and then you start saying it's me and what's wrong with me. And maybe I do have a problem, and then you keep trying to fix yourself again. So yeah, for myself, for my clients, when life triggers it through a comment, looking at yourself in the mirror, a relationship issue, like there's probably a trigger that had you click on this podcast episode today, maybe, or maybe just got texted as a reminder for me or whatever. And it was just a nice time to listen. But if you just do an organic search, you're like, oh, where's Leslie? Like, where's the podcast episode for this week? You can ask yourself, like, what happened that led me to want to grasp for the podcast? Did someone make a comment? Did I see myself in the mirror? Did I step on the scale? Do I have a doctor's visit coming up soon? And just getting that until you know how to transform the trigger, heal through the trigger, your constant struggle to try to lose weight and to find an answer will continue. And yeah, impact every area of your life, because it's really sign of that deeper emotional issue is really the problem. And so if you're not masterful at your emotions and your triggers, almost impossible to be in a really healthy, happy relationship. Makes it really challenging, at least. So, yeah, relationships are everywhere, whether it's professional or personal. And if you have the goal of wanting to achieve more peace in your life, you want to enjoy your life more, you want to experience more, you want to have more fun, you want to be more active, that's going to be the thing directly in the way. So, yeah. And then for myself, the spiral would just come back over and over again. So, yeah, this is the cycle that almost every woman in the masterclass recognized. It's why even successful, intelligent, capable women stay stuck. If you haven't seen the replay yet for the masterclass, if you're listening to this soon after, so in end of July 2025, you can head over to the link hpwl.info/replay for that limited time replay. There's a day 1, there's a day 2. They were both 90 minutes. I really recommend not being distracted as you're listening to it. Act like you're actually in the room. Answer the questions that I ask. Do the exercises that I bring to the table. It's huge. I talked to a woman yesterday who said she watched the replay to my last master class and she lost 8 pounds. Hasn't even, done any of my stuff yet, but just coming to that. So yeah, enjoy it, watch it before it comes down. hpwl.info/replay. So yeah, even, I want you to understand that you're not fighting food, you're fighting your wiring. And no amount of intellect is going to get you out of that. So I wanted to share with you what actually changes. And I also want to let you know that this work feels different, that it's not going to feel like a sparkly new diet and a big dopamine rush. It's going to feel safe. It's going to feel steady. There's obviously the initial, especially when some people come to me, they feel super out of control with their eating, maybe overnight snacking or, snack, like you might be in that, and that will go away very quickly in the program. Within 4 weeks, any weird eating habits that feel like that extra anxiety around and all that, that's completely gone away. No question about that. So that's nice. But then through the entire healing journey, which I find for my clients about 12 to 18 months, is slow, steady, step by step, really unraveling it. And in that masterclass replay, if you get it in time, I go through the different phases on your journey of healing through this. So you never have to diet again. So I want to let you know, what you can expect, what actually changes, what I learned to do differently, what my clients learn to do differently, and what you can experience too. So I broke it into different categories. So there's mindset and identity shifts. There's the nervous system, emotional regulation types of transformations for myself, being more embodied, definitely relationships and boundaries, huge, as well as my lifestyle and freedom. So can get excited for whatever parts of these. And I want you to look for yourself on how will this transform your leadership? How will this transform your marriage? How will this transform your parenting? Like those things that really matter at that, really soul core level for you. So let's start with mindset and identity. So in terms of my weight, I stopped believing that I had to have a perfect body to be loved. I had it deeply ingrained that the only way that I was going to attract real love into my life, because my parents did model a marriage that I admired. I can now see the positive and the negatives of that as I've done my work. No marriage is perfect, and what I want and what I don't want. But that was kind of like the perfection ideal I was striving for. So I wanted to have that in my life. Overall, it was positive and peaceful and still is. And I'm thankful for that. But I did have it ingrained that I had to be perfect. I had to eat perfect and I had to look perfect in order for a man to be attracted to me. So stopped believing that. And that was a hard one to overcome. And that I could be loved and accepted at any weight. And it's not that I wanted to be any weight, but just that belief in and of itself transformed. And that was huge. And I coach my clients on that a lot of times. Sometimes clients are single, and then as they start to do work on themselves, they feel more and more ready to attract in their right partner. And so, yeah, getting to share with them the coaching on dating and how to attract in a really healthy partner for you, even if you're not super confident about your weight. Huge. And the other thing, yeah, I don't care as much about how I look. I don't think I ever really did, to be honest, for whatever reason. And while I say that, like, I always look pretty good every single day. Like, but different than, so I guess there's a spectrum, right? So I have friends that are like really into fashion and they want to know and they buy the latest trends and the different, I just always like what I like, and like what feels good and looks good on my body. And I know anyway, so that was a journey to like discover that. But either way, I could show up without makeup on or with makeup on. There was one 3-day weekend work thing and I actually forgot my makeup bag. And at first, because it's a business thing, you want to look at your best. It was a little uncomfortable for me. I didn't immediately run out and buy makeup. I did get a couple things like by the last day or whatever, but by that point it was fine. But nobody noticed. I wasn't treated any differently, and it was kind of a fun thing for me to also overcome. But anyway, I also ask myself, what do I want and what do I need? And I really trust the answer. So I've built a relationship with my own body. So I think since I had a critical mom, it was kind of like anytime that I used my voice and shared an idea that I had, it was like immediately questioned or immediately like, that's a bad idea, or why would you do that? Or that's not like it. And it just forced me to kind of internalize myself and be like, okay, so whatever I think is wrong. So I would constantly go for external for my answers and didn't learn how to have that from myself. So that is a regular thing for myself. If I feel off, I have a relationship to check in with my body and ask, what do I need and what do I want? And I know that every time that I actually own that and write that down, it happens every single time. So that's beautiful, because otherwise you're just going after what you think you should want or what someone else says you need to have in order to be successful or happy or free or healthy. And that's a trap. Good. So that's mindset and identity. Yeah, I know I'm lovable. And yeah, that was a journey. So nervous system and emotional regulation. Let's talk about that. So if I overate, which is like a very rare occurrence now, or if I feel a lack of energy, so say even last night I had a drink, we had kickball and we had a drink after by the pool last night. And so I definitely was a little bit more tired this morning just from one drink. That's what happens. The old me would have spiraled. The old me would have had that be a trigger and been like, oh, I shouldn't have had that drink last night. I knew better. I overslept my alarm. I woke up later than I wanted to. You should know better, Leslie. Like, there is none of that. None of that. And that did not used to be my reality at all. I called it OOS. I feel out of sorts, was how I described it. And yeah, it just does not happen. My brain will immediately just be like, good for me. I had a great time last night. No regrets at all. Like, and I still built enough trust in with myself to be like, I still get everything done. I still show up really 100%. I might be tired, but it doesn't affect my performance. It doesn't affect my ability to serve clients. It's just like cool. So now I'm just going to enjoy, the day today with even maybe a little bit of tired on board and like be like, yes, but I'm living a really full, amazing life. And I love that. Anyway, so it's just you can see that I'm kind of going inside trying to figure it out because it's such a non-issue that I don't even know what I say to myself because I'm just living my life. Like there's integration that happens when you have emotional regulation. So you're not battling parts of yourself and getting mad at yourself. It's like you understand exactly why and how and what you're up to. And um, that was important too. And that led to that, like trusting everything, trusting myself. But I couldn't have got there unless I did the emotional mastery, regulation, like got my nervous system in the right spot. Um, I know when I'm triggered, I know when I'm feeling emotional, and I'm still able to stay above it. I don't get triggered about food, body, and weight stuff anymore. Even this summer, I've been kind of making little jokes to myself and said something to my boyfriend at one point of just being like, I feel like I got a little ice cream pooch here, like in my abdomen. Because there's been, ice cream has been around, and I know that ice cream makes me feel bloated. I don't really love ice cream, but I've just been saying yes to it. But like, you know, years ago before I healed this stuff, it's like that ice cream poop, I'd be thinking about it 24/7. I'd be obsessed about it. I'd be trying so hard, making sure that I'm not going to eat the ice cream. I have an uncle that I remember him saying, like, oh, just anytime I notice I have a little extra weight coming on or my pants feel a little tight, I'll just maybe have a little less ice cream and I was like, well, that must be nice, and I thought that I never, ever, ever would be able to be like that. And now being like that, like, that's what I'm just like, oh, it's just easy. I'm like, oh, that's why I feel a little bit heavy. It's been ice cream. And just naturally, I'll make different choices. It's like, I trust that my body's going to go back down. Like, I'm like, oh, it's summer. Good for me. I'm having a great time. More socialization, more saying yes to joy and pleasure. Like, of course, that's there, you know? And I think it's because I now know that emotions aren't dangerous, that I've felt them all the way through. Once you feel your emotion at the source of where it's coming from, and that's where my personal breakthrough sessions really help my clients, is because once you move through anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt, and shame, once you see it, it cannot be as severe again. They're just waves. Emotions are just waves, and you can see them. It's like, okay, I'm triggered right now. What do I need? Okay. What do I want to do about it? What do I need to do? And I know that what I'm describing, but hopefully like my energy is modeling it too, but it can feel completely impossible, or maybe that's like, no way, or maybe even a little boring. Like, you can be honest with yourself of like, is there any part of me that's addicted to the drama of like needing there to be a problem all the time? Because if there isn't a problem all the time, then what else am I going to do with my time? Um, but to live from that space of just like presence and peace and security, um, like to really be able to be in the being and simultaneously have fun doing the doing. Like, I have fun doing house chores, I have fun doing the dishes, I have fun doing laundry because, laundry's not my favorite. Like, I have fun, like, even though it's like every single thing, like, I guess you could look at like adulting, like, I love doing this work. I'm grateful for it. And like, I don't know, it just gets better all the time. So, good. So that's nervous system, emotional regulation, and I'm kind of going towards some of the lifestyle freedom stuff, but let's keep going. So, embodiment and presence. So, what does it mean to be embodied? It's like living inside your body. And I enjoy being in my body now. And I also think that if you've been listening to my podcast for a long time, you probably have been able to see and feel my growth. I used to definitely, yeah, in the beginning, I would say I was less in my body than I am now. I was definitely still more anxious. Um, and yeah, to live from inside your body, it's like I actually enjoy being inside my body right now. And that's a big thing. Like, as you feel safer and safer to feel emotions, you feel safer and safer to live inside your body, which is where the emotions live. Um, and that's where you can feel grounded. That's where peace can come from, presence comes from. Um, I eat what feels good, no matter what that is. If ice cream feels good, I'll eat it. If um, a salad feels good, I'll eat it. If I feel like I want a heavier, more satiating meal, I eat it. If I feel like I want a lighter salad meal, I eat it. There's nothing that's off limits. There's no foods that's off limits for my clients. Most of my clients like healthy food, but it's the denial that you actually also like quote unquote unhealthy food that also is part of the problem. It's like trying to push a beach ball underwater. Eventually, you're going to get tired and the beach ball is going to pop back up into your face and you're going to gain the weight back. So, yeah, the avoidance, the denying, it doesn't work. So, teaching you how you can master the emotions so you don't get triggered when you eat those things, um, and simultaneously learn how to have a relationship with those things. That's not you trying to push away, push away, push away, push away. Whatever you resist persists. So that's that. I move in ways I love. Um, I know everybody has different ways to move, and the old me was moving because I had to, because if I didn't, then I would gain weight. I had to because I needed to lose weight. I'm grateful because if I didn't have that, I wouldn't have experienced so many different forms of exercise and gotten to have all those experiences to know what those felt like and what I liked and didn't like. But now I genuinely can't wait for my workouts every week. I can go more. Um, I try to, yeah, I move my body every single day and in ways that I love. And let's see, embodiment and presence. Um, I never, I never did this, but I have clients who tell me that this has been a huge thing for them, is that they used to walk into rooms or social events and kind of scan the room to kind of measure themselves up, and sometimes even like measure self up like body wise, like am I the biggest one in the room? Um, just a lot of fear of those social things. For whatever reason, I always had courage to, yeah, I'm pretty good socially to go into social settings. I'm not afraid of people. I'm reflecting to see if that was like a always thing. I don't know. I had a good English teacher growing up, and she, public speaking, and I was chosen to be like do solos and stuff. So I think I faced that fear early on of being, yeah, in front of people or seen or speaking. Um, but anyway, that's something that my clients will say a lot, that they feel confident in social settings. Just showing up as yourself, just showing up as me and knowing I have nothing to prove, nothing to defend, nothing to justify. Like, just me showing up is all that's required here. But if you have people and relationships in your life where you're like, oh, but they always say this to me, or they always say that to me, and they comment on this and that pisses me off, and I can't stand that person, and da 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 da. It's not to say that that person's behaviors are justified. They're probably not. But what if you could walk into any social situation or be with anyone and be completely unaffected by anything that they do or don't do, or say or don't say? Like, that's true freedom, because you're never going to be able, unless you live in a box and you isolate yourself completely from others, which I know sometimes is something that's going on for my clients. Um, prior to them doing the work is, they're isolating themselves because they feel not confident in their body and they don't want anyone to see them. They don't want anyone to judge them or whatever, because I get the emotions about it. It's scary. It's embarrassing if you've put on weight and people see you. Like, I get all of that. Been there, done that. It sucks. But there will never be a time when someone isn't going to make a comment that's off the handle. Or so the more you understand about why people say what they say, and the fact that it has absolutely nothing to do with you, even if they're specifically pointing their finger at you and saying it does, it still doesn't. The more that you build awareness on the internal for yourself, you naturally are going to learn more about the internal of others, and makes you unafraid to be with anybody and to have any kind of conversation. I've had clients that have complimented me on my ability to have hard conversations. Well, first of all, that's what it is to be a coach, is you're just honest. And that's all I need you to do. If we speak, it's like, be honest with me. That's it. And you're doing it for yourself. I had a woman on the master class, and that's what she said. Like, I usually don't share so vulnerably, but I told myself, like, I need to be honest to have change happen. And she did so awesome. It was so beautiful. Good for her. Good. So let's talk about relationships and boundaries. We're kind of already talking about that now, but I speak up. A lot of times, some of the spiraling that's going on in our body, we think it's because of food, but it's actually because we didn't speak up. And it's like, if you ever ruminate on conversations and, why did I say that? I should have said this and that and this and that. First of all, valid pain. Like, it's so painful. It's scary. It brings up all relationship issues. And no matter what you consciously know of, like, oh, they're doing that because of this, and they have that issue, and that's more about them than me. Like, right. We tell ourselves these things, but it doesn't actually change the way we feel. And that's a problem. I also set boundaries without guilt. Trying to think of an example, but I told this to a client recently. Like, my sister got married this summer. It was amazing. We had the best time. Her wedding was insane. I had no idea it was going to be like that. It was, wow. I felt like I was at my sister's concert. One of her friends said that, and it was just so true. The word my mom used was epic. It was just so different. She had a dinner and a very small ceremony the night before, and then they did the party with everybody the night after. It was in Brooklyn, New York. It was at this venue called the House of Yes. Shout out to the House of Yes. They did a great job. It's usually like a nightclub, and like, their brand is all about like acceptance of all humans, and but like really different, like kind of crazy style. And anyway, they had an MC at their wedding that was like keeping the party going. We got moved into different rooms. There was a stage in the middle. There was no tables to sit at. It was just like a club dance party in the best way. There was a performer that was coming off the, ceiling and doing acrobatics and drumming, and oh wow. Anyway, shout out to my sister, and that's amazing. I thought my older sister's wedding couldn't be topped, and they are compared. They compared, but they're on different levels, and they were both incredible. I'm like, wow. If I ever get married, which is most likely, first of all, going back to why we're talking about this, like, I've thought about this. It's like, there could be that performative part of me that's like, oh, I got to top my sisters, because all three of my sisters are married at this point, and they've all had incredible weddings. Even my youngest sister, I didn't put her like say that, but like, her wedding was awesome. Loved her wedding. Bit more traditional compared to those, which is why it's not making that part of the conversation. But anyway, but I'm all about like actually asking myself what I want, you know? So it's like I could do it to like show my family that I can be epic as well. And I think there probably was a part of me that would do that in the past, but I cannot be anything else but myself. In my yearbook in high school, that's what people wrote, was like, Leslie, you're just so real. You're just so real. And it's like, I literally don't know how to be anything else but real. It might be part of, ADHD or whatever, like being too brutally honest, but either way, I think that's a great way to live your life. um, anyway, so yeah, speak up, um, set boundaries. Oh yeah, that was where this initially came from. So we were going to that wedding. My boyfriend loves Peloton. He was going to take a Peloton class while we were down in the city. He was asking me about it. And I felt my body kind of rise up with like tension and a little bit of like, I wanted to be like, like it's like, leave me alone, like that. I don't want to hear that. So I asked myself internally of just like, okay, what is this about? Because I have a relationship with my body. Why am I feeling this way? And it was like, because I don't want anything to get in the way of me spending time with my family at this time. And I know I'm going to want to be able to be fully free and fully present to just do whatever my family's doing during this time. And so I just very calmly said to him, I said, I fully support you doing a Peloton class. I want you to do it. I know it's been something you've been wanting to do. And I said, and I want to let you know that if you're planning and going and coordinating this class it's going to interfere at all with my time, um, it's going to really affect me. It's going to really bother me. It's going to really upset me. I said, so, and I really mean it. I'm happy for you to go. I don't want to be a part of any of it because it's going to stress me out. Like, let me know when you're going, let me know when you're coming back, but I can't have any. And he's so self-sufficient. He's so independent. Like he's so great. Like it's not even an issue. It was just, that was a boundary that I set. Yes, go. Don't bring, if there's any stress about it when we're there and trains and coordination and how can and I need this and how can I make that happen? Like, I'm not going to be able to handle it. And this was weeks prior. And he's like, okay. And he was like, would you rather I just not do the class? I said, absolutely not. I'm not, I want you to be happy. I want you to do it. I just also want to set you up for success so that you don't end up walking into a space where I'm going to blow up because, yeah. So that's an example of a boundary where everybody wins. It's not putting up a defensive wall. It's not protecting myself. In a way, it's protecting myself, but it's not like, it's healthy self-protection, but it's also protecting him. So I don't end up, going wild and getting pissed because I never said anything when I first felt my body. So again, that's a relationship with the body, is like, and your emotions is like, they're trying to communicate something with you. And if you just keep avoiding and because you don't know how to process them or you don't know how to communicate through them, it can lead to, yeah, relationship issues for sure. Um, yeah, some other things. Um, I never really had a problem with, well, that's actually not true. Um, I was just thinking, anyway, something that I can say that is true is that I am going to do what I want to do, even if I have to do it alone. There is the reason I hesitated was because I was thinking about like being alone. Like I definitely had to go through a time of the fear of being alone in general. Very independent person, but I was like a chronic relationship person because I was scared of being alone. And yeah, I had to work through that. With that said, though, if there's an event, even this past week, there was a concert and I wanted to go to it. And it was kind of last minute that I found out about it, but I was totally fine to go alone. Um, yeah, I guess, yeah, I don't tolerate misalignment. Um, So if something doesn't feel like what I want to do, I'm not going to do it. Yeah, that's a safe way to say it. I'm not afraid to say no. I'm not afraid to go and do what I want to do, but that's kind of always been the thing. So, and I show up present. I'm present um, with my boyfriend. I'm present with my family. I'm present. So wherever I am, I'm present with my clients. That is a huge thing that I would say is like what you can expect. Cause I remember what it was like before I did this work and, you know, was doing the heal method on myself. I could be in a room with family. I could be in a room like a conference room or be learning a really interesting topic in a classroom. And I was not actually there. Like I remember just obsessing about my body and feeling insecure in my clothes and feeling, um, and wondering what am I going to eat later and how am I going to make sure I don't eat that later. So the level of presence that I bring at all times in my life, like I'm not distracted, um, is amazing, to be honest. So what a gift you can give to someone, the gift of your presence, because it's like my needs are met because I know how to meet my needs now. And if they're not met, or if I do get distracted, I easily can get them met because I notice it really quickly and take action on it. So, and it's all everything that I do and like the motivation I have to do everything that I do because I still am really massively productive and efficient and um is because I care so much about being present. So if anything's getting in the way of me getting to be present, get it out of the way so I can get back to being present, which is just the best thing ever. So that's definitely a huge thing and obviously positively impacting, relationships and communication, boundaries. So lifestyle and freedom. So I can go to a restaurant and there's zero spiral concern about anything. I used to have to be knowing exactly what's on the menu. What am I going to have before I get there? How am I going to ask for that? Or, maybe I shouldn't be eating out, or maybe I should be eating out. And there's like, no matter what restaurant it is, even if it's not my favorite restaurant, even if they have no options that I don't love, like it's not a problem. Um, that's it. I eat when I'm hungry. Um, that's it. And I can find something to eat no matter what. And I know what foods feel what ways in my body now since I have a relationship with my body. So I make an empowered choice of just like, okay, so I don't love what's on this menu, but so maybe I'll just go with the appetizer and get, some bread and dip or a little hummus platter and veggies or, you know, but it could be like, oh my God, I love what's on this menu. And what sounds great is that pizza. So I'm going to order the pizza. And I feel like I'm extra hungry. So I'm going to order a salad too. And they have an incredible dessert menu. So yeah, I got room for dessert. I'm not going to miss out on something incredible. Let's have a dessert. Or it's like, their menu desserts don't look great. So no thanks. I'm good. Um, just no drama. I can go on vacation without any thoughts about how I'm looking in my bathing suits. If anything, it's just like, oh yeah, how I'm looking in my bathing suit because I got a bathing suit that I know looks good on my body and I'm happy about it. Um, I wouldn't wear a bathing suit that I felt not confident in. And what I know is that no matter what size your body is, you can find a bathing suit that you feel confident in, at least confident enough in where you're not thinking about it all the time. Um, Not worried about overeating. Like I said, there's been more ice cream this summer than normal. I'm not worried about it. Um, no thoughts about starting over on Monday. I was telling during the master class that I went to Italy, a few years ago, and there was a time that would have been, the wine and the pizza and the carbs and the pasta, and like I want to eat it all. None of that. No concerns about trying to lose weight before a vacation so I look better or after. No concerns about how am I going to eat when I'm there. It's just I wake up and notice if my body is hungry, and then I ask what I want to eat, and I see what's on the menu, and I make a choice, and I don't think about it after I make the choice. I eat it. I don't overeat it. And it could be pasta or it could be a salad, and it's fine. It just depends on the moment. It's just really being present in the moment and making the decision that's the right decision for the moment. Um, yeah. And I just feel called to just remind you that, like, I was the complete opposite. I remember when I was, right, 3 years of keeping 45 pounds off, eating so restrictedly, no sugar, no flour, no gluten, no dairy, weighing and measuring every single ounce of food, literally for every meal, no snacking, nothing in between meals, no caffeine, no alcohol, 3 years. And me knowing all the science about it, me understanding all the inflammatory properties of gluten and dairy, and that, like, everything. Um, And I remember there was one time, because I had weighed my meal and it had to be a certain amount of weight for every different category of foods, 6 ounces of grapes and 4 ounces of protein and 6 ounces of vegetables, fruit, 6 ounces of fruit, 6 ounces of vegetables, 4 ounce, and, um, 1 ounce, was it, of fat, right? And my sister took one grape off my plate, and every grape is going to weigh a little bit different than the other. So I couldn't just put another grape on. Even still, why can't someone just, and I flipped. I thought, because it was so triggering, of being like, oh my God, if she takes a grape off, I'm not going to have the right amount of fruit in my body. I freaked out. And my sister said to me, she was like, you have a problem. And I didn't know I did at the time, but it was that level of obsession. I definitely was part of in the masterclass I shared. I think the statistic is 35% of people who are dieters end up in an eating disorder. I definitely ended up there. Um, if you look up orthorexia, it's basically just the obsession with being healthy. And when I saw that term, I was like, well, I don't want to have a mental health issue. So I need to fix this. Um, yeah. So just letting you know, like, if I can get out of being someone who was rated a 10 out of 10 on the food addiction scale, 10 plus 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 on the food addiction scale, and binge and never felt full. And once I ate a little bit of sugar, it was off to the races and I couldn't stop all day long. Like, if I can go from that to this, you can do it too. Um, yeah, if what I'm sharing is appealing to you, just know that you can do it, and I have everything that you need to get you there. Because the truth is, if this speaks to you and it's like, feels like, how can I, like, it feels almost impossible, how can I actually get there? Or anyway, um yeah, just know, like, if you could have figured it out by yourself by now, you would have already done it. um, cannot know what you don't know, but you can feel peaceful for a time, but until the trigger comes up again, snaps you right back. And we talked a lot about that in the master class. So again, if you're watching this recently, hpwl.info/replay. Um, yeah. So you are capable. You can do it too. You just got to want it. Got to be willing to get out of your comfort zone. You got to be willing to ask for help, be honest, and make a change. I do not need a diet to feel safe. I haven't dieted for years. I will not diet. There's no reason to diet. With that said, it doesn't mean that I don't make adjustments to how I'm eating but it's like very easy, just like because I want to. I'm way more vegetarian now than I used to be, but I still eat meat because sometimes that's the only thing that's there. I enjoy less meat. It's not a diet reason. Um, yeah, I trust myself. So whether I have a candy bar or I have the meat or I don't have the meat or I have the drink or I have the seltzer or I have the chips or I have the apple, I have the bread and pasta, or I have a salad, I'm fine. Yeah, and I've created a lifestyle that I really love. I have a boyfriend that I really love. We have a great relationship. He's great for me. He's not what I thought he would be, but he's great for me. And that's the thing, is like when we surrender and stop letting go of control or stop trying to make things happen, because all my last relationships, I could really see there was a pattern of like I was making it happen. Oftentimes the universe gives you something better, gives you what you actually need. So if you stop trying to make your weight loss happen, being performative about it, and you surrender, which is scary because it's like that's the only way we know how to exist when we're high performers, people who check the boxes and get things done. Yeah, you'll be given something that's even better than what you could imagine. So, and that heals the life, the relationship with yourself, and then the lifestyle gets better and just gets better all the time. I think my constant want is just more peace, more freedom, more love, more connection. And I see that continuing. So it's fun. So yeah, I think you're getting, again, through my energy, like this does not feel like a dopamine hit. It's calm, it's grounded, it's real. And that's exactly the point. So this work is not a quick fix. It's not some high hype, but this is the one thing that'll finally work. It's the last stop in your weight loss journey. It's safe, it's steady, it's healing, and it works because it's not a flash in the pan. If your system is used to adrenaline and chasing plans and crashing with the shame, the healing is going to feel weird at first. Like you're going to be like wanting so much to follow a plan. But we'll provide you with the support that you need, the awareness that you need to get into the state of calm. But it's that calm that finally sets you free. Yeah. So if you've been stuck in that food obsession, if you want this, that shame, that control, if you've gained and lost the same weight back for decades, if you're chasing quick fixes and this is resonating with you, just please know there is another way. That you don't have to be dieting for the rest of your life. The woman who just signed up for our program this week was saying, like, I can't even imagine being in my 60s and still doing this. Like, how embarrassing, she said. But consider, rather than looking at yourself as a failure, like you're here now. Is there a reason you're listening to this podcast? Is there a reason that you feel connected to my energy? Like, what if you got to feel this way yourself? What would that bring to you? Yeah, tapping into the meant to be-ness of absolutely every interaction and then just following the energy that feels good. You're not broken. You're just wired to survive. So let's teach your system how to thrive, how to have peace, how to have freedom in this area of your life and beyond. So you can head over to my website for more information, hpwl.co at the time of listening to this podcast. And yeah, let this be the last stop of your weight loss journey, not because you're giving up 0%, but because you're finally coming home. I want you to get to come home. It's really nice, isn't it? You're worth it. I love you. And I'll see you for the next episode.
Ready to finally break free from the diet hamster wheel and create lasting transformation? I've put together a free hypnosis training just for you, where I break down why diets keep failing, the mindset shifts you need to stop the cycle, and how to rewire your subconscious for true effortless change. Text the word hypnosis to 1-855-232-5483 and I'll send it to you instantly. You don't have to keep struggling. Real freedom starts now. Take the first step. Text the word hypnosis to 1-855-232-5483 5483.